What's happening, everybody? Happy Sunday. Just letting my Discord folks know that I am up and running. Got little bit of time here. There goes my lighter. Not that I need that. A little bit of time here before we get inactives. I decided to just go ahead and kick this thing off a little early because screw it. Let's talk some football. We are not going to get inactives, official inactives for the early games for another 40 minutes. But in the meantime, we can talk shop, take questions, and I'll briefly go over the latest updates from this morning. There are not too many of them, not any that we haven't already discussed. Let's see. The Jets are holding out on a trade for Breece Hall, barring an offer they can't refuse. We'll see. The Dolphins could be fielding multiple calls on players leading up to Tuesday's trade deadline. Jalen Waddle, Jalen Phillips, among the biggest suitors that could go. Isaiah Pacheco expected to return in Week 11, so he is trending toward only missing today. The Chiefs have a bye week, Week 10 next week, so it could just be a one-game absence for Pacheco, which is a good sign. And Joe Flacco will play Week 9. He will start for the Cincinnati Bengals against the Chicago Bears. It was trending in that direction since Friday. It is now official. You can feel just fine about Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Chase Brown. And honestly, you could play Flacco too in deeper leagues, and certainly Superflex formats. Great matchup against the Bears. Let's get into it. I see Fortune, I see Evan, I see Greg. Always got to shout out my members and, of course, everybody coming in and hanging out today. Appreciate you guys taking the time. Let's get some W's. Let's have a day. Let's have a football Sunday. Just really quick, I know you already know, but for anybody who is new, first of all, welcome in. Second of all, members will get first priority to questions and comments. That is a perk of being a member of the channel. You can find more details about becoming a member of the channel in the first link in the description of this live stream. If you send a super, if you are feeling generous enough to send a super, that would also be a way to get your questions prioritized and answered out of order. If you are not a member and you do not send a super, I will still answer your questions. I do just ask for some patience as I work through member and super questions first. Appreciate that in advance. If you are enjoying the stream and the conversation, I just ask that you like the stream. That helps me out for algorithm purposes. Let's get into it. It is football time. Fortune, start Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, Quentin Johnston, or Alec Pierce as your final flex. So I actually slept on this. I actually quite like Alec Pierce today. I don't know if I like him more than Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, but the Steelers' defense is like the most favorable matchup that you can get, or one of the most favorable matchups you can get for opposing wide receivers. Josh Downs was on the injury report with a hip injury. He will go, but it's not Downs who plays in two wide receiver sets for Indianapolis. It's Michael Pittman and Alec Pierce. Downs comes on the field for three receiver sets. So Pierce is more of a full-time player for them. This matchup is spectacular. I may go Pierce here. And you know, it's inconceivable to think that Quentin Johnston fall from grace. But, you know, he's been kind of quiet recently. He goose-egged last week, wasn't it? Wasn't that what happened? Now he gets a matchup against the Tennessee Titans where that might be a situation where we're rooting for first half production because second half production could be just all in the ground game, all in the running game. Assuming the Chargers have a lead in the second half, the Titans are bad. Novice, and you know, on top of that, you never want to assume anything in the NFL. Everything's on the table. Anytime it comes to, you know, what looks like lopsided matchups on paper, you know, we see things we don't expect all the time. However, just again, on paper, it looks like this is a lopsided matchup. The Chargers should handle their business against the Tennessee Titans, and therefore they should be running a lot in the second half of this game if it goes the way we expect. So that's going to put the squeeze on the Chargers pass catchers to do work, to do well in the first half if that in fact plays out. So I think there's fewer potential opportunities this week for the Chargers wide receivers. So that makes me a little hesitant on Johnston. And then Bill, I actually like his spot tonight against Seattle, especially with Jaden Daniels back. We just haven't seen that much from him recently. Pierce feels like a solid deep threat, not dart throw, better than a dart throw. He is a bit boom bust, but this is a week where you would circle as I think there's a boom week potential here in such a good matchup against Pittsburgh. I think I would go Pierce here, Fortune. That's the direction I'm leaning in. That's the direction I'm leaning in. What's going on, Evan? What's going on, Greg? Wasn't able to get another running back. So you have to choose between Love or Stafford this week. I think, both guys are in situations where it's very similar to what I just said about the Chargers. The Packers could have a huge lead against the Carolina Panthers at home, and they're just running the ball in the second half to kill clock. Same thing with the Rams. They're playing the Saints. Tyler Shuck's first career start. New Orleans is already one of the worst offenses in the league. I do not know that Shuck elevates them in any type of way. We'll see. But on the road, playing the Rams, coming off their bye week, that's a tough spot. Stafford might not have to do all that much today. So, both are slightly volatile. I think I slightly lean Stafford. I'll just take the guy who gets to throw the ball to Puka and Davante Adams and just hope that he can come through with a couple of scores before, the Rams mail it in for the day, because they should have their business handled against the Saints pretty early on. I would expect anyway. And, of course, with the NFL, expect the unexpected. So who knows how likely that is to play out. But the Rams are a good team. The Saints are not. The Rams are coming off their bye week. The Saints are starting a rookie quarterback in his first career start. There may be fewer opportunities, but you still got to score some points to get the win. So I'll take Stafford throwing the ball to Puka and Davante Adams over Love, who should be fine, but is in a very similar situation as Stafford and just doesn't have as good a supporting cast. And then for running back, obviously playing McCaffrey. Probably have to play Dobbins, even though the matchup stinks. Let's see. You have Aaron Jones, Kincaid, and Keenan Allen on the bench. I don't think you have to play Nico. At least he doesn't play. He doesn't get Patrick Surtain today. He is out with I think it was a pec injury. So it pretty much comes down to like Debo versus Keenan Allen for me. And I guess I'll play Debo just because of the expanded opportunity with no Terry McLaurin. Keenan, on the other hand, contends with Ladd McConkey, who looks to be coming on pretty strong, and Quentin Johnston, the aforementioned Quentin Johnston. So, opportunities are a little more scarce. So I think that's fine, Greg. I think what you have is okay. I don't want to play Aaron Jones against the Lions. I don't want to flex Kincaid. If you have a tight end, I'm just playing that tight end. And Debo over Keenan Allen today is fine for me. Yeah. So that all looks good. I have a super from Nick. Appreciate that, Nick. Thank you so much for the support. Flacco or Lawrence? So Flacco was on the injury report, but will play, getting the Chicago Bears for the Cincinnati Bengals today. Obviously, the injury is a little concerning. Being on the injury report with a shoulder injury. But will go, has great weapons to throw the ball to. Lawrence, on the other hand, hasn't been that good in general. Now he doesn't have Travis Hunter. It is a fine matchup against the Raiders. The Raiders' defense is very beatable, but he's down one of his starting wide receivers in this game and moving forward. We're down to Brian Thomas, Parker Washington, Tyami Brown. That's not as good as being able to start Travis Hunter alongside BTJ. I'll take Flacco. But as far as the quarterbacks, um, he has Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Trevor Lawrence has Brian Thomas and depth guys, and Flacco, even at this stage of his career, might still be better than Trevor Lawrence. That is an indictment on Trevor Lawrence. I'll say Flacco here. As far as Nico versus Chase Brown, Nico does catch a break going, with no Patrick Surtain, and because it's full PPR, I think that's where I lean. Chase Brown should be fine today, and I never want to, I always hesitate pivoting off of a guy who should get close to bell cow work. I know Samaje Perine is cutting into Chase Brown's workload, but, he's still racking up a lot of opportunities, and the offense has been stabilized by Flacco, and that would also be a stack opportunity for you. That being said, in full PPR, a stud wide receiver, avoiding Patrick Surtain, even in a bad matchup, I think I go Nico. Alpha wide receiver 1 in full PPR is harder to shy away from than a solid running back who is good and in a good situation, but is losing touches to Samaje Perine. I'll say Nico as your flex, and Flacco as your quarterback. But appreciate the super, Nick. Thank you so much. Let me know if you need anything else on that. I would go Flacco and Nico. Evan, you have the same question as Nick did. I'm, like I said, the shoulder injury is a concern, right? It's not ideal, but he's out there. He's active. He's gonna play. That's all we can go off of. He's gonna play, and he gets to throw the ball to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and they can make plays for him, and and boost his numbers just by being the dynamic elite playmakers that they are. Lawrence isn't good, and is now down one of his starting wide receivers. The matchup is good, but I don't trust Trevor Lawrence. I don't trust Trevor Lawrence with Travis Hunter. And now he doesn't have Travis Hunter. So even in a good matchup, I'll take Flacco over Lawrence. Yeah, I would roll with Stafford, Greg. He gets to throw to Puka and Devontae Adams. That's pretty good. And look, if you like a player, if we're on opposite ends, you give me player A or player B, I tell you player A, you like player B, and after I give you my thoughts, you still like player B, then play player B. Obviously, always go with your own gut. I'm just here to give you my thoughts. But if you specifically like a player and like a situation, this is for everybody, you don't have to necessarily go with my thoughts. If you still disagree with me after I give you my thoughts, or you don't like my answer and you want to go with your guy, go with your guy. Always go with your own gut. If you feel something, and there can be no analysis or thoughts behind it other than I just got a feeling. If you have a feeling, it's fine to follow that. If you like Lawrence over Flacco, play Lawrence. I wouldn't, but it's not my team. If you believe in a guy, play the guy. I would go Flacco, but obviously, at the end of the day, it's your call. What you do with your team is your call, as it should be. As it should be. What's going on, Crumply Heads? Good to see you. Wandale, Trey Tucker, Higgins, JMO, choose 2. Higgins and Wandale. Higgins because Flacco is playing and there's nothing scary about the matchup against the Bears, and Higgins is a talent level tier break above all these guys. And then I will go Wandale. Great matchup at home against San Francisco. Nothing scary about the 49ers defense these days. They're already down Malik Neighbors. Now they're down Cam Scatterbo. Wandale is a short and intermediate target type of guy. He could absolutely get a few more looks without Scatterbo. Running backs typically get those short and intermediate looks as well when in the passing game. So Wandale could be getting increased usage, and he's already basically their number 1 wide receiver on a week-to-week basis now without Neighbors. I'll take Wandale at home. I'll take Higgins at home. JMO hasn't done anything this year. Very unfortunate. Could break out, could blow up at any time. Um, but it's hard to trust it right now. And Trey Tucker, you know, I'm not. Let's see how he does with Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers back in the lineup. And also, I know he's been playing well, but Geno Smith hasn't. So it's hard to get behind any Raiders right now behind Genty and Bowers. Give me Higgins, give me Wandale. And I'm not playing Parker Washington over Higgins or Wandale, no. You could, Greg, play Keenan Allen over Woody Marks. That would be fine. Again, Woody is in a brutal matchup against the Denver Broncos. So if you do want to pivot off of that, that's fair. Chase the good matchup. Keenan Allen at least has a very good matchup against Tennessee by the numbers. Whether or not they actually need him today is another story. It's just a lopsided matchup on paper. So it is possible that Keenan has low numbers in a game that the Chargers should handle their business relatively early. But it is a good matchup, and Woody is in a terrible matchup. So if you want to pivot off of the bad matchup, I understand. That's fine. That would be fine. Woody is maybe like the ceiling play, and actually Keenan might be the ceiling play, and Woody might be the floor play for volume, but it's a low floor because of the matchup. So what's going on, Sport Dog? Good to see you. This is the lineup. Pickens in London, yes. Vidal, yes. Bowers, yes. Monangai, yes. Yeah, I mean that's fine. Which is that, Jaylen Warren or Tyler Warren? That Matt. I think you have Tyler Warren. I think that's what I remember this last night. I think you have Tyler Warren. Yeah, I mean, but if it is Jaylen, maybe I'm thinking of somebody different. This is fine. This is fine. The way that you have it is good. If it is Tyler Warren, I might put Tyler Warren in for Bowers for just 1 week. He's one of the 2 or 3 guys where if I had him, I might play him over Bowers for just this week. But what you have is fine. What you have is good. But let me know which Warren that is. Just so I'm clear. Rico, Bam, Spears, Pollard, choose 2. Probably Rico, even though the matchup isn't spectacular. Bam is in a good matchup against the Cowboys, but we don't know how that backfield is going to shake out. And then Spears and Pollard, I just don't trust. I mean, I like Spears. I do. I don't trust Pollard at all. I don't trust the Titans in general right now. Maybe Chimere DK, that's a wide receiver for, boom bust play. I will probably play. I mean, I like Spears here, but I just don't trust the Titans offense as a whole. I'll take Rico and Bam here, Crumply Heads, and just hope for the best. Rico's not in a good matchup, but he should be the lead dog today if we're to believe the coaches and the coaching staff and what they've been saying about the backfield split this week. So I'll take Rico. And then Bam, it could be a committee. DeMercado is back, healthy. Michael Carter, I think, was elevated from the practice squad, so all 3 of those guys might get in the game. But Jonathan Gannon did say Bam should get first crack, and it is a great matchup. So I'll take that shot. And Jacoby Brissett stabilizes that offense more than Kyler does. Fortune, you can play Krosky Merritt. You can play Bowers in the flex. This would be a rare instance where I would tell you to play Bowers. I mean, it's Brock Bowers. We drafted him at the 2-3 turn this year, if not earlier, in drafts. And I know that's eons ago, right? The draft only matters so much at this point of the season. But we drafted Brock Bowers to be one of our studs. The one healthy game that he played was week 1. He was the tight end 2. He wasn't healthy after that because the knee injury he suffered was in that first game of the season. He still put up like low-end tight end 1 numbers at less than 100%. Now he's back. There's nothing scary about the matchup. I would play Bowers. I would play Bowers. That's where I would go. What's going on, Rojo? Good to see you. You tell me. Is Gabe Davis getting activated? Does that I mean, respectfully, if I was this only matters if I was in like a 48-man fantasy league. Gabe Davis. I don't know. I guess he could, right? Joshua Palmer's out for the Bills. Is this like a DFS play, or are we just keeping track of everybody we can? I don't know. He's not fantasy relevant. He's not fantasy relevant. He's not NFL relevant. Sorry about it, but he's been quite quiet over the past couple of years. Okay, sport. It's Jaylen Warren. Yeah, what you have is fine. What you have is fine. I do quite like Jaylen Warren the rest of the way for the stretch run, but what you have is fine. What you have is fine. And then Bam Knight over. Yeah, no, Fortune. I would play Brock Bowers. I would play Brock Bowers. It's Brock Bowers. It's we're talking about one of the best tight ends in football when healthy. Play Bowers. We should be getting official inactives in about 20 minutes, but I do think I have all of the member questions answered, so I will be going back up to the top. Appreciate everybody's patience as I work through this, and if any members need anything else, I will make sure to keep an eye out. We're picking two here between Keenan, Shakir, Rico, Nico, and Bam Knight, and good morning to you as well. I'm playing Nico Collins. He's a stud. Talent level tier break among these options, and no Patrick Surtain for Denver, so he catches a break there. Denver still has an incredibly good defense, but Nico himself, the one-on-one matchup is not as bad as it would be had Surtain been healthy for this game. So I'll play Nico. I may go Shakir as my other option here. I don't like. I like Rico today as a desperation option. I don't have any other better running backs option. But if I can pivot to a wide receiver that's attached to a good offense, a good quarterback, and it's in a massive game against the Kansas City Chiefs in Buffalo, like prime time, the game of the week, that 4:25 each start time, like I want players in prime time games, not, and that doesn't mean just any player, but viable pieces, viable fantasy relevant players in big matchups that matter on an NFL level, at the playoff level. Bills Chiefs doesn't get much closer than that. I'll take Shakir here in a game where, it should be back and forth. There should be lots of pass attempts for Buffalo today. I'll take Nico. I'll take Shakir. Not Keenan. Not Rico in a tough matchup. Not Bam Knight. Too much uncertainty around how Arizona may run their backfield. And Keenan Allen just, he just may not have that many opportunities in a matchup against Tennessee where the Chargers should handle their business pretty early, I would think. Alec Pierce or Bam in the flex. So this is where I probably would go Bam. Bam is the floor play. Pierce is maybe more of the aggressive boom-bust play if you need to be aggressive, if you think you need a ceiling play, if you think you're a big underdog and you need to swing for the fences. That's Alec Pierce. But if it's not that situation, if you're a favorite, if it's a 50-50 matchup, or even if you're a slight underdog, I would probably play Bam Knight. If you are a decent underdog, if you're like, man, I might lose by 20 points today, 15, 20 points today, then you might as well take the moonshot with Alec Pierce. Otherwise, I would probably take the floor play in Bam Knight. It's a great matchup against the Cowboys. Yeah, it's a great matchup. Let's see. Okay, I am caught up. Kayshawn, Sam Laporta, or Romeo Dobbs. I'd be curious to know who your starting tight end is, and if it's one of the mainstays, McBride, Bowers, Kraft, Warren, Kittle. I would look to trade Laporta if you can. Um, I don't like the. I mean, he should be fine today, I guess, but he's kind of. Laporta's very up and down. He's a very good player, but he's not always a regular, relevant fantasy player. Um, it's just Amon Ra and Jahmyr Gibbs just like take all those opportunities, deservedly so. But Laporta is somewhat hit or miss. You got Kayshawn, you got Romeo Dobbs. Kind of like Dobbs today. Dontavian Wicks is out. Matthew Golden is not super involved right now. Yes, Christian Watson is back. Dobbs is probably the floor play. Butte is maybe more of like the aggressive all or nothing play, very similar to Alec Pierce, like kind of all or nothing. If you need to play aggressively, if you feel like you're an underdog and you need to swing for the fences, maybe Butte, but otherwise I would probably just go Dobbs. I think he's one of the regular main starters at wide receiver for the Packers. He's still running ahead of Matthew Golden, and Dontavian Wicks is out this week. And there's nothing scary about the matchup against Carolina. The only concern there, again, are the Packers like blowing out the Panthers in the second half and just running the ball, and the opportunities in the receiving game just kind of aren't there. But that would mean that they've scored points in the first half, so maybe Dobbs has something to do with that. I'll take Dobbs here as a floor play, Butte as like a ceiling aggressive play. Okay, I got the member questions. This is where we're at. You picked up Bourne. I would probably play Bourne over Ertz. Although there is no Terry McLaurin. There is no Terry McLaurin for Washington. So Ertz should continue to see a lot of opportunities, and Jaden Daniels is back. Bourne is a little less enticing. I know you have Mac Jones. I guess, let me take a look at Kendrick Bourne really quickly. Because since Kittle came back, and Jawan Jennings is out there regularly now playing, I think Bourne has kind of tapered off a little bit. I'm just double checking this. It is a good matchup by the numbers. Yeah, the past couple of weeks, Bourne has, in week 7, he had 2 catches for 14 yards, and last week he had 3 catches for 44 yards. Now, this is a much better matchup by the numbers. So if you want to play the matchup, then Bourne is fine, and if you want to stack it up, that's fine. But in a vacuum, I would probably actually go Ertz here. No Terry McLaurin, and he has Jaden Daniels back. So that's a double whammy positive for Zach Ertz. I would probably go Ertz over Bourne, but I don't hate going with Bourne as a stack with Mac Jones, and the matchup is good. I will just caution, he has been quiet for the past couple of weeks, albeit in bad matchups, but with Kittle back and Jennings back, he's not as much of a slam dunk as he was when those guys were out of the lineup. And I know Pearsall's out too, but Pearsall's been out for like a month, and again, last 2 weeks, Bourne's been kind of quiet. So I might go Ertz. Should be getting early game inactives in the next 11 minutes. So I'll make sure to go through those when we start getting them, just for a sanity check. Let's see. Someone dropped Pacheco in your league. I don't know that he's not an upgrade over Dobbins, but he might be an upgrade over Bam Knight. Not for the next couple of weeks, but if Trey Benson comes back, if the team goes back to Amari DiMercato now that he's healthy, do they keep mixing in Michael Carter? I would say Pacheco is a guy I would rather have on my roster for the rest of the season than Bam Knight. Not Dobbins, but probably Bam, especially if, to be fair, I don't think we've gotten a positive update on Trey Benson for a little while, so I'm not 100% sure what his status is or when he may return. But the expectation is that he will return at some point. So just based on that, I would rather have Pacheco than Bam Knight. And then on top of that, this isn't a one-size-fits-all type of statement, but generally speaking, I would prefer to have players on good teams than players on bad teams. The Chiefs are good. The Cardinals suck. So, that's another. There's no research there. There's no, there's no hard-hitting data or numbers here. It's just like having playing this game for over 20 years. You feel, and you don't need that much experience to know. Players on good teams are more likely to be and have more scoring opportunities on a play-by-play, week-over-week, situation-by-situation basis than players on bad teams. So I'd rather have Pacheco than Bam Knight. Not Dobbins, but definitely Bam. What's up, Iron? Good to see you, my friend. Let's see. Let me see. I have my spot in line. I see a couple of questions popping in, but fear not. I will get to them, but I got to get to my members first. Again, that is a perk of being a member of the channel. We're playing Jaden Daniels over Joe Flacco. It's Jaden Daniels, and Flacco is on the injury report. He should be fine. I will say, though, that's like, even if Flacco was healthy, I would tell you to play Jaden Daniels. And Flacco is healthy enough to play. Let's make one thing clear. But he was banged up enough to be on the injury report this week. That's like a nail in the coffin type of like, okay, Daniels is making his return. Prime time at home. No, he doesn't have Terry, but he does have Debo. He does have Ertz, and we all know that what Jaden Daniels can do as a runner. We're playing Jaden Daniels. We're playing Jaden Daniels. He's back. He's back healthy. He's playing tonight. You drafted him to be a stud, or you have him on your team to be a stud. If it's Dynasty, start your studs. Jaden Daniels is a stud. Play Jaden Daniels. And then you need Puka and hey, what better players to need big games from than two of the best players in the league? So yeah, you should be fine with Puka and Chase. I also have a league where it's a keeper league. I have Puka and Chase, and I've lost a couple of matchups in a row, but on the whole, I feel quite good about my team. And before, I was able to, Puka was a keeper from 2 years ago. Now I can't keep him anymore after this year. I have exhausted his keeper eligibility, but hopefully I can parlay that into a nice end of the season. We shall see. Just got this update from me and Rappaport. Terry McLaurin, Washington Commanders wide receiver Terry McLaurin, not expected to play in Week 10, and he will possibly be held out through the Week 12 bye. That's hardly a surprise, but now, a timeline that we can work with Terry McLaurin, if you have him. Do not expect probably to see him until Week 13. Just throwing that thing out there. And according to Jake Glazer, the teams being aggressive at the trade deadline are the Seahawks, the Bears, the 49ers, the Cowboys, and the Eagles. That is hardly an update, but just passing along info as I see it. And Iron, I'm glad Shakir worked out for you last week. That did work out. I was a little worried about him, but then he ripped off that huge run for a touchdown at the in the second half of the game, and I was like, okay, we're good. We're all set. Okay. One flex, one tight end, two wide receivers. You have Kittle and Tyler Warren. I feel like there are so many people these days, this year, who have like two of the top 5 tight ends on their team, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'd be inclined to try to trade one of those two and just rock with one the rest of the way and get some upper echelon help at running back or wide receiver. Just throwing it out there. Your 2 wide receivers should be London and Tet. 2 wide receivers should be London and Tet, even though I'm not crazy about the matchup for Tet. But at least, the Panthers are like 13.5 point, 14-point underdogs, which means they should be throwing the ball a lot on the road. So Tet should be able to get some volume here today. And London makes his return to the lineup. I think you have to play London, even though he's been disappointing this year. I'll play London and Tet as your 2 wide receivers. And then is that Genty? Is that that's Genty, right? It has to be. I would play Genty in the flex. And I would probably play Tyler Warren over Kittle, which I don't really want to, I don't want to bench one of these 2 tight ends, but if that's Genty, then you have to play him in the flex against Jacksonville. And I'll play Warren, who has been incredible, and the Colts offense is like the best in the league. So I want pieces of the best offense of the league if I can, and that's Indianapolis. So while it's tough to sit Kittle, Jennings, got it. Okay, then both tight ends. I would play Kittle and Warren. Yeah, I would play Kittle and Warren. I would play London, I would play Tet, and I would play your 2 tight ends. I don't want to play Torrey Horton, even though he's got a good opportunity tonight. And I don't really want to play Jennings. He has, he's been lackluster this year. I'll take those 2 stud tight ends in this scenario. That being said, I would try to go around and see your league mates, see if anybody needs a good tight end and could give you a good running back or good wide receiver for one of those 2. Maybe try to trade Kittle for running back or wide receiver help and rock with the young stud tight end Tyler Warren rest of the way. Just food for thought. And then your defense between Seattle and Jacksonville, both are in decent spots. But Vegas is getting Brock Bowers back today. So I don't think it's as good of a matchup on paper as Vegas's offense has looked to be a good matchup on paper for opposing defenses for the past month. With Bowers back, that feels less good. Meanwhile, for Washington, Jaden Daniels is back, so that's good for them. They are missing Terry McLaurin. Obviously, Jaden Daniels is a much, much better quarterback than Geno Smith. I guess I'll say Jacksonville. I don't really love either spot that these 2 defenses are in. I'll say the difference is Jaden Daniels versus Geno Smith. I'd rather play a defense playing Geno Smith than a defense playing Jaden Daniels. I don't dislike Seattle today, but I'll say Jacksonville. They get Geno. And Geno stinks. Geno stinks. That's why. What else we got? Start 2. Metcalf, Pittman, Adunze. These are all pretty good options. I think I like Adunze today. And I like Pittman just because, again, the Colts have the best offense in football. And they're getting a Steelers defense that has been absolutely shredded by opposing wide receivers. Metcalf should be fine in this game. That's the clear-cut wide receiver one, but I think I might actually take Pittman. I want pieces of the Colts offense if I have them. Obviously, tier breaks of talent, in consideration. I mean, Pittman and Metcalf are close enough. I'll take the guy on the better offense in a matchup. The Steelers are giving up a ton of opposing production to opposing wide receivers. I'll take a Dunze just because he's playing the Cincinnati Bengals. That's a juicy matchup. And I'll take Pittman in a juicy matchup against Pittsburgh. Yeah. Oh, sorry. And there was another part of this question. And start two between Charbonnet, Montgomery, and Spears. I mean, Montgomery is kind of boring, but he should have a solid role at home today against the Vikings in a game where the Lions are 8.5, 9-point favorites. So they should be running the ball plenty. So I'll take Montgomery. And then between Charbonnet and Spears, Spears is the better player, but Charbonnet's in the better situation. I'll say Charbonnet is a floor play, and Spears is more of an upside play. If you think you need to be aggressive, scoring points and shooting for the moon, swinging for the fences, Spears has more upside, but he has more downside because of how bad the Titans' offense is. Charbonnet is more of a floor play. Kind of boring, pretty inefficient, not great. But he is the goal line back for Seattle, and he is getting plenty of opportunities, splitting the work with Kenneth Walker. I will say play Montgomery. I'll play Charbonnet in a neutral matchup or in a matchup where you feel like you might be favored, or even a slight underdog. We don't want to be too aggressive. I'll say Spears is your aggressive. I'm an underdog. I might lose by 15-plus points. I need to be aggressive. I'll say Spears is your play in that scenario. Yeah. Adunze, Pittman, Montgomery, and then Sharp's floor, Spears ceiling. Really quickly, I'll get this one, and then I see Evan's question down below, and I will get to that. Horton or Parker Washington? So Horton, Cooper Kupp is unlikely to play. Actually, we are getting inactives rolling in for the early slate. But really quickly, Kupp is not expected to play, so Horton gets an increased opportunity. Parker Washington gets an expanded opportunity with no Travis Hunter. And it's a great matchup. Great matchup against Vegas. It's actually probably a pretty good matchup as well for Horton. I'll give it to Parker Washington. I think the matchup is really good. Both teams coming off of their bye week. I'll say Parker. I mean, he's a veteran at least, and that's kind of what I'm leaning on here at this point. Horton is a rookie who has flashed and has been exciting and gets an opportunity, expanded opportunity with Cooper Kupp, but his track record is just not as long, and that's kind of all I am going off of right now. It's kind of like dart throw versus dart throw. I'll take Parker in expanded role with no Travis Hunter. I'll take Parker Washington for this question. Really quickly, and then I will get to Evan's question. Just quickly going over inactives for the early slate. Bengals edge Trey Hendrickson officially inactive for Week 9. A bad Bengals defense stays worse, so you feel good about the Bears' skill position players. Dalton Schultz active for Week 9. Probably not playing him. Christian Darrisaw, the Vikings left tackle, is active for Week 9. Falcons edge Jalen Walker is active for Week 9, so their defense gets a boost. Brock Purdy officially inactive for San Francisco. We knew that was happening. Mac Jones gets another start for San Francisco. That's all I have so far. We'll keep an eye on it. And then, Kupp is unlikely to play, Evan. I don't think he's officially been ruled out yet, but it doesn't look like his prospects to play tonight are good. He's got heel and hamstring injuries that he's nursing. So he's not looking likely to go. Between Charbonnet and Barner just does. I mean, Barner's been solid. He has showed some flashes. I just don't want to go with a random tight end over a running back that is at least in a 50-50 committee and getting guaranteed opportunities. Barner does have 3 tight end 1 weeks this year, which is incredible, but then he also has weeks of the tight end 57, the tight end 37, the tight end 44. I mean, it's typical tight end stuff. He's very up and down. Charbonnet floor, Evan, and Barner is your like all or nothing ceiling play. But I would probably just play Charbonnet. Probably just go Charbonnet. Oh, and you have Josh Allen. So yeah, play Shakir. Stack it up, 100%. Brissett or Knicks? Yeah, Jacoby Brissett. There were like at least 5 or 6 people yesterday who asked this question. But it's fair, it's warranted. I would play Jacoby Brissett. Bo Nix gets the Houston Texans today. They have one of the top defenses in the NFL, and I think they are number 1 against the pass at the moment, or number 2. And they're a brutal matchup for opposing wide receivers. Jacoby gets the Cowboys. That's a great matchup. One of the best matchups that you can ask for. I'll take Jacoby Brissett, throwing the ball to Trey McBride, to Marvin Harrison, stable of backs that he can throw it to. Bam Knight can catch the ball. Decent, not spectacular ancillary options to throw the ball to. And the Cowboys defense is a defense that teams have been moving the ball against with a lot of success. I'll take Jacoby in the better matchup. Nix is obviously the better quarterback, but it's a brutal, brutal matchup against Houston. I'll take Jacoby Brissett. I think I got this last night. Franklin and Worthy are my answers. Worthy in a big matchup, in a big game. I want to play. I want to play contributing players, good players in big games, big matchups. Bills Chiefs fits the bill on that one. So I'll take Worthy, chance to make a big play in a big game. And then I'll take Troy Franklin over Aaron Jones, over Bill, over Woody Marks. Just, no, it's not a good matchup for Troy Franklin, but no Marvin Mims. Should see a few more opportunities. And, if there's one advantage for Franklin, it's that Stingley should be on Cortland Sutton. That should free up some opportunities for Troy Franklin on the other side. So I'll take Worthy and Franklin. And then I'm going Wandale over Tet McMillan today. I don't dislike Tet's spot, but it is not great against the Packers. Bryce Young hasn't been good on the road for his career. Wandale at home, already down Neighbors, now without Scatabo, short and intermediate routes. There should be a lot of them. They could go pass heavy, the Giants, now without Scatabo. I'll take Wandale. And San Francisco's defense is a shell of itself. No Nick Bosa, no Fred Warner. Who are we flexing between Keenan Allen, Khalil Shakir, and Kareem Hunt? Probably Kareem Hunt. I mean, if it was full PPR, I might tell you Shakir. But if it's half PPR, I think I'll go Kareem Hunt. I'll take the running back. It's a good matchup against Buffalo. No Isaiah Pacheco. Hunt still is collecting a good number of a good number of touchdowns and scoring in general opportunities. I'll take Hunt with no Pacheco, and it's a really good matchup against Buffalo. Buffalo's giving up a ton of opportunities and a ton of production to opposing running backs. Shakir is good, but in half PPR, I'll lean the starting running back, and then Keenan Allen. I don't feel super strongly about today. The Chargers could get up early against a bad team in the Titans, and then they're just running the ball in the second half, and they're running a bunch of 2 wide receiver sets out there, and then Keenan Allen's not even on the field. Yeah, I would play Kareem Hunt. And then thoughts on Parker Washington? Yeah, I mean, expanded opportunity coming his way, obviously, with no Travis Hunter. And the Raiders are not good on defense outside of Max Crosby. They're giving up I think I saw 130 some odd yards per game to opposing wide receivers. Again, no Hunter, so significant workload coming for Parker Washington. Yeah, I would imagine he gets another 8 to 10 targets today in a matchup where I don't trust Trevor Lawrence, but the matchup is good. It's a positive one. So if you need a wide receiver 4, if you need to, if you're looking for ancillary flex options because of injuries or bye weeks, yeah, Parker should be fine today. He should be fine. As far as the rain in Nashville, it looks like there's a 10% chance of rain, which is not super high. Let's see what the Tennessean says. Lower precipitation chances, heavy cloud cover, and lower temperatures for the game. Okay, it doesn't look like we're getting significant rain for Titans Chargers today. It might be like a cloudy day. Might be like a cloudy day in Nashville today, but it looks like the rain that they had was a couple of days ago, and so we don't have to worry about it as much. Think we're good. Yeah, I don't think there's anything to worry about there with the rain. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, we're okay there. That being said, I'm still not crazy about, you're firing up Lad McConkey, but I'm not crazy about the Chargers receivers today just because, someone will do well. Somebody will perform. But if the Chargers get a big lead in the first half, which is totally possible against a bad Titans team, they might just be running it all day. And then Hunt or Genty. I mean, I like Kareem Hunt, but you probably got to go Genty. I mean, he's the bona fide blue chip prospect. He's the guy that we drafted in end of the first round, top of the second round in our drafts this year. We drafted him to be a horse, to be an anchor. He's got a beautiful matchup today against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Nothing scary about that at all. And Brock Bowers is back, so that should boost the prospects of the Raiders offense in general. I would be playing Genty. I like Kareem Hunt. I like his spot today. I like his matchup. I would be playing Genty. I would be playing Genty. Yeah. Let's see if we get any more. Do we have any more injury updates or inactives for the early slate? Nothing. No new updates. Okay. And Joe Flacco is officially off the injury report. He will play. I don't know what Yahoo's report is about Kareem Hunt. That might be the number. That might be the max number of opportunities he's had in a game this season. He's definitely had more than that over the in a single game over the course of his career. They're probably talking about this year. They're probably talking about this season. That's probably like his. If I had to guess, that's probably his max number of opportunities in a single game this year. That number could and probably will be a little higher today. Maybe not significantly higher. I don't know if Kareem Hunt's getting 20 opportunities, but I would think he's in the 15 to 18 range with no Pacheco. All right, we are at the end of the chat. I will obviously hold on for a little bit longer. Obviously, it's football Sunday, so for anybody who's coming in, Rico Dowdle will officially start for the Panthers in Week 9. I don't know why we're getting that update. We already knew that was happening. Don't love the matchup for Rico today, but he should come through with a floor play with volume. What's this update on Trey Benson? Trey Benson moving closer toward a return. This was like 15 hours ago. Okay. So, Benson still worth stashing if you can. Yeah, it's not good. Well, he's not on a pitch count. He's in a committee. So, Pacheco is still the one who gets most of the carries. But with him out of the picture today, they'll give the ball to him 15, 17, 18 times, I would think, as their lead guy today. Let's see. Not seeing anything else. The Chargers will be without guard Mekhi Becton today, so that's noteworthy for their offense, for their offensive line in general. That being said, that doesn't impact. We're still firing up our Chargers. Still firing up Herbert, still firing up Vidal, still firing up Gadsden at tight end if you can. Still firing up Lad McConkey. Quentin Johnston and Keenan Allen I have a little less conviction in right now. But you may need to go with them depending on your other options. Bye weeks, injuries, etc., etc. Okay, anything else? The chat is I am at the end of the chat. So any other questions that anybody has before the start of the slate? There should not be any wait time really. And right on cue. Who's more exciting between Spears and Charbonnet? Spears. Who do I think is going to have a better game? That's a different question. I like Spears. I like the talent of Tajay Spears. I think he's explosive. I think he's a better player at this stage of his career than Tony Pollard. It's just the rest of that offense. The rest of that offense is putrid. They got no receipt. I mean, Ayamanor and DK are rookies that they're relying on. They need these guys to be starters running full-time roles. I mean, that's a tough thing to ask of day 2, day 3 picks. Where was DK drafted this year? Yeah, fourth round. Him and Iamanor, both fourth round picks, day 3 picks. I mean, they're relying on these guys as starters. It's a tough spot to be in. It's just a bad offense. That being said, I like Spears as the more exciting player. Do I prefer him to Charbonnet tonight? I don't know about that. That also wasn't necessarily the question. But who excites me more? Tajay Spears. I think he's the more explosive player. Charbonnet is one of the most inefficient runners in the league by any numbers that you look at. But the Seahawks still are going to him, and in particular, they are they're letting him line up as their goal line back. So pretty decent chance that he does well. Let's see. Greg has one last question, and then I will see. I see the other questions, and I will get to them. But I got to get to the members first. Yeah. So Greg, it's kind of like it's like 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. Dobbins' matchup also sucks. Like Woody's matchup sucks, but Dobbins' matchup stinks too. Houston has a good defense. I guess I would go Dobbins just as like the veteran, and it is a better offense than Houston's offense. Denver's offense is better than Houston's. So I guess I would keep Dobbins in over Woody Marks. But I'm not expecting much from either one today. I'm really not. Yeah. But if I had to choose one, I would probably play Dobbins. Using the Rams defense, that's good. The Rams defense is my favorite play today for defenses. So it's fine to be looking ahead with your defense for a couple of weeks, but I'm only doing this if I'm in good shape record-wise. If I'm 5-3 or better, and I'm feeling good about my playoff prospects, then sure, fine, you can hold a defense. If you're scratching and clawing for a playoff spot, and I know there's still weeks and weeks to go, but if you're like 3-5, even 500, and you're maybe right on the cusp or on the outside looking in, then I'm not necessarily worried about weeks 10 and 11. I'm just worried about week 9 right now, getting a win now. So it kind of depends on your own personal situation. But if you are in good shape, then it's fine to hang on. And then of course the other part, it's a 2-part answer to this question is, do you have Josh Jacobs? Do you have Travis Etienne? Do you have Kyron Williams? If you do, then any one of those 3 dudes is way more valuable to you than the rest of your league mates. So, if that's the case, then I may say, yeah, drop the defense you're not using this week to protect yourself from, the worst case scenario, a potential injury. If you don't have any one of those backs, then it's fine to hang on to Houston, but I may consider dropping Houston if you have Jacobs to get Wilson. If you have ETN, grab Tootin, and if you have Kyron, grab Corum. But if they're just standalone grabs, then it's fine to just keep your defense. Drop Coleman for Torrey Horton? I mean, how badly do you need Torrey Horton today? Do you have to play one of these 2 guys? Because I don't really want to play either. But I guess I would take the shot on Horton between the 2 of them. Yes, the Bills are. I just got done talking about how I want to play players in primetime games, and the Bills Chiefs fit the bill. But whatever, Sunday Night Football is about as primetime as it gets. And with no Cooper Kupp, Horton should have a solid opportunity in a good matchup. If you need one of these 2 guys today, then sure. Then drop Coleman for Horton. If not, if you don't feel the need, then I would probably hold off just because, assuming Kupp comes back, Horton is going to lose a little bit of value, and at least Coleman is He regularly gets starter snaps for the Bills, at least for now. Yeah. If you need a guy today, then sure, make the move. If you don't really need either one of these guys today, then maybe just hold on to Coleman. Knicks, Caleb, Flacco, or Rodgers. I don't feel super strongly about this, but I think my answer is Caleb. It's almost we're approaching do or die time with Caleb Williams. It's like, all right, dude, like, are you that guy or are you not? And over the past few weeks, he has not been that guy. But there are few matchups better than the Cincinnati Bengals, who are also without Trey Hendrickson. On the other side of this ball of this game, the Bengals can score points. Flacco, Chase, Higgins, they can score. They can put up numbers. So there should be a lot of points scored in this game. Can Caleb live up to the billing? Can Caleb take advantage of a great matchup? No DeAndre Swift, no Roschon Johnson. You would think that the passing game that Ben Johnson opens up the playbook for more throws, more pass attempts today. With their backfield banged up, it's time for Caleb to take advantage of a really good matchup. If he doesn't do well today against the Cincinnati Bengals, and at least 2 passing scores, maybe 3 scores in total, then it might be time to put the nail in the coffin. It's put up or shut up time for Caleb Williams. He's supposed to be talented. He's supposed to have upside. It's a great matchup. That's who I'm officially going with of this group, because he has to come through. He has to be good. This is a matchup that he is supposed to exploit, take advantage of, and put good numbers up. He has to. That's what comes with the territory of being the first overall pick in the draft just last year and being touted as a generational prospect. He has not lived up to that billing so far. This is his opportunity to have a good game, to have a good showing. I'll say Caleb, because he has to. He has to. If Caleb Williams does not do well today, we can cast him aside for probably the rest of the season. It's put up or shut up time. I'll take Caleb Williams. Hunter, who's Green? Let me know who Green is. Is that Hunter Henry? Because I would. It's not Travis Hunter. Obviously, he's not playing. Is that Hunter Henry? Let me know. I guess I would say Hunter Henry if that's who you mean. I don't know who Green is. So let me know. Gadsden, Bowers, or Diggs? Damn. And it was Hunter Henry. Yeah, play Hunter Henry. I trust Drake May. I trust the Patriots offense right now. I would play Hunter Henry. Gadsden, Bowers, or Diggs. I like Diggs today against the Falcons. I like Bowers just returning. Gadsden has been a stud. I don't want to play 2 tight ends. And I also don't want to sit Gadsden, but I'm not playing Gadsden over Brock Bowers. So Bowers is definitely one of my answers. It comes down to Diggs versus Gadsden. I just kind of have a general rule. I don't like playing 2 tight ends. So my thought is to play Diggs. He is the Patriots wide receiver 1. His usage and production are up since the start of the season. He's getting healthy from the torn ACL from last year. He's starting to run more routes, more offensive participation. Solid matchup today at home against Atlanta. Not great, but solid. I would prefer to play Diggs in full PPR. If you want to go Gadsden, that's your call. That's your decision. I just personally don't like playing 2 tight ends, and I'm starting my, Gadsden's been a stud, but Bowers is in the conversation of best tight end in football. I got to play Bowers coming back from injury. So I will definitely play Bowers. I would play Diggs. I just don't like playing 2 tight ends. But if you want to play Gadsden, that's fine. The safe. So okay, yeah. So this is Spears versus Charbonnet, right? The more exciting player is Tajay Spears. The safer floor is Charbonnet. And that has everything to do with he's just in a better situation. Seattle's offense is better than Tennessee's. There aren't too many offenses that are worse than the Titans. Charbonnet is not an efficient runner, but he is getting at least 50% of the opportunities typically in this backfield, even with Kenneth Walker healthy. And Charbonnet is getting the goal line opportunities. So, if the Seahawks find themselves within the 10, within the 5-yard line, it's probably going to be Charbonnet out there, not Walker. I will take Charbonnet as my floor play. He's boring. He's inefficient. I don't think he's that good, but he's in a better situation and he's getting the valuable opportunities in the Seahawks offense. Charbonnet is the floor play. Spears is the ceiling play. Nix, Dart, Daniels. Start 2. This is easy for me. I'm benching Bo Nix. He's playing Houston. Houston is a brutal matchup. Jaden Daniels is a stud. I don't really think there's a whole lot you needed there. You drafted him to be an anchor. You drafted him to be a high-end top 5 quarterback. He's back. He's at home. He's in prime time. We're playing Jaden Daniels. And then I'm playing Dart for the rushing upside, for the potential increased passing volume without Cam Skattebo. He may run more also without Cam Skattebo. And the 49ers defense is it's beatable. It's targetable even. No Nick Bosa, no Fred Warner. They're banged up with injuries. Like I want to play players against San Francisco's defense, especially at home. Give me Daniels, give me Dart. I don't want to play Knicks today against Houston. It's a brutal matchup. That game in general, it's like two great defenses. It might be low scoring. I'll take Daniels and Dart. And then I would play Hunter Henry over Barner. Bowers, Bam Knight, or Tet. So again, if you have, I feel like a lot of you guys have a lot of you, not all of you, have like 2 of the top 5 tight ends this year. Somebody has some combination of Bowers, McBride, Kittle, Warren, Kraft. Be aggressive trying to trade one of those guys if that's the case. Maximize, diversify and increase your depth at running back and wide receiver. And I don't know if that's your case, but if Bowers is consideration for your flex, does that mean that Warren or Kittle or McBride are already in your tight end spot? I would be aggressive trying to trade one of those for running back or wide receiver depth. That being said, I just got done talking about how I don't like playing 2 tight ends, but if it's a stud tight end like Brock Bowers, who, I know is a needle mover, that's super enticing. Bam Knight is a great opportunity against the Dallas Cowboys. We just don't know if that's going to be a full-blown committee with Amari DiMercato back, and Michael Carter got elevated even though they cut him. And then Tet, I just don't like Bryce Young on the road. This is a tough matchup against the Green Bay Packers in Lambeau. Tet should get volume. The Panthers, I think, are 2 touchdown underdogs, so they're going to be throwing. I just don't like the spot that he's in, and Bryce Young is he less than 100% coming back from that ankle sprain? We'll see. I would say Bam Knight is a boring floor play. Not boring, but as a running back that should lead a committee, he should be fine in a good matchup. I have a hard time, though, just sitting Bowers. If Brock Bowers is healthy, I drafted Brock Bowers to be one of my anchors. So I think I want to play Bowers. Bam Knight might be the safer play, but there are questions about, we don't know how that committee potentially is going to shake out because Amari DiMercato is back. I think I would play Bowers. It goes against my don't play two tight ends rule, but if you have two of the top 5 tight ends, then it's like, okay, fine. We'll make an exception. Probably play Bowers. What's going on, Nino? And Alex, what's going on, guys? Good to see y'all. Appreciate the kind words. Thank you, Alex. And yeah, of course, best of luck to everybody. Is it crazy to want to start Spears over Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt? It's not crazy, but I can't advise on it. I would still play Bill. This could be a game where, Krosky-Merritt has been unplayable for a few weeks. I'm inclined to believe that Jaden Daniels elevates the floor, makes him a little bit more viable, especially at home. If the Commanders are winning this game, or if it's a neutral game script, then Krosky-Merritt will be out there. And I like Spears. I like his talent. Spears is the better player, but he's in one of the worst situations in the league. The Titans' offense is abysmal. Washington's offense is better with Jaden Daniels under center. I would probably play Bill. I don't disagree that Spears is the better player. Spears is the more explosive player. That offense just stinks. The offense stinks. Spears doesn't stink. The offense as a whole stinks. Yeah, this is not anti-Tajay Spears. This is anti-Tennessee Titans. Yeah, I know. He might not be that good. Bill might not be anything. He might have just been a preseason wonder. But Washington did trade Brian Robinson. And Austin Eckler's not walking through that door. So they got to roll with somebody as their runner. And McNichols is the passing down guy. If Washington is trailing, or if they're in a 2-minute drill or in a hurry-up situation, it's going to be McNichols. But in neutral situations, it should be Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. And I guess I just feel a little bit better about him because of the return of Jaden Daniels. If he doesn't do it tonight, then he probably can just be dropped outright. But I'll roll the dice on him at home in primetime with Jaden Daniels returning. Let's see. 3 running backs. Pick 2 between Travion Henderson, J.K. Dobbins, and Kareem Hunt. I would probably play Hunt. No Isaiah Pacheco. Great matchup against Buffalo. Henderson, obviously, great opportunity with no Ramondre Stevenson. Dobbins in a brutal matchup against Houston. I would definitely play Kareem Hunt. And then this is what I would do. Your floor play is Dobbins in a bad matchup. It is not a good matchup, but it is a good offense for Denver. I don't love the Broncos today. But they are a good enough offense where floor plays are in play. So I'll say Dobbins is the floor play. Henderson is the swing for the fences. His ceiling is strong. His floor is incredibly low. It's not out of the realm of possibility that Henderson continues to see to top out at 10 opportunities. I would have to imagine he's in the range of like 12 to 15 opportunities with no Ramondre Stevenson. It could still be muted work, muted opportunity for Travion Henderson. But at home, in this good offense that the Patriots have, he does have ceiling potential with Stevenson out. Play Kareem Hunt, play Dobbins as your floor play, play Henderson as your ceiling play. It's like swinging. You're swinging for the fences. You need points. You need to be aggressive. You're playing a good team. You're an underdog. Henderson. If you feel good about your chances today, you're a favorite. You like your team. You like your outlook for today. Then you could play Dobbins. But I would definitely play Kareem Hunt. And looks like I'm going to Bus Beast today. Okay. We are at the end of the chat. I think that's everything. Let me just do one quick pass on any other inactive updates. There are none. None that I have already covered. Okay. I think that'll do it for me this morning. If there are any last-minute things that you guys need, you can hit me in Discord, second link in the description of this live stream. You can also hit me with a question in the form of a comment on this stream or any videos or streams on the channel, and I will see it. But I got to get my own ducks in a row for this week with less than an hour before the full slate. Appreciate everybody coming in and hanging out today. Special shout-out, as always, to my members. I saw Fortune. I saw Evan. I saw Greg. I saw Crumply Heads. I saw Rojo. I saw Sport Dog. I saw Iron. It's good to see Iron. And I just saw Nino. Right? Those are the members that I saw. And I saw Alex. Always good to see Alex. Hopefully all is well. So appreciate the members. Thank you, Nick, for the super, and everybody for coming in and hanging out today. Best of luck in your matchups. Let's get these dubs. I will be back on Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern for Week 10 waivers. I can't believe I just said Week 10, but that is where we are. Football season always flies. Good luck today. Let's get these wins. I will see you guys on Tuesday. Thanks, everybody.